So, welcome to another episode of Conversation with Coach Kevin. I'm your host, Kevin Thornton, life coach and author. Today is, I've been blessed these past few episodes where some of the greatest men that I know I have come across to has been willing to be a part of this journey with me. And today is no different. This man came in my life during the time I was healing as a physically healing and transitioning more from a health coach, which I still do, and focusing more on my life coaching. He is one of the co-authors of our successful book, 20 Beautiful Men. He's a life coach, but now he's more of an energy healer. I want to welcome you guys to Jay Hollenshed. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you having me.
So, can you do me a favor first? I know who you are. Can you tell everybody who you are and how you get to this point right here? Especially during the time when I first met you, you focused more on coaching, and now you turned into this great energy healer.
Okay, well, let me see. That was what 2017 when we were did the book.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
yeah, it's been a minute between 2017 and now, and that was a transitional phase in my life. I was still struggling. In fact, it all stemmed from my chapter in the book, which talks about my struggle.
Mm,
And it went from there to just me embracing and integrating the lessons from our struggle because I kept fighting my purpose.
mhm,
Um, I mean, I had a good prayer and meditation life, and because of that, I knew what my purpose was, and I kept fighting it. And
mhm,
that resistance just kept pushing me back further and further, and it made me struggle even more. So I
mm,
gave in. I said, God, that's it. I'm done. I'll just, whatever you want me to do, I'll do. And I surrendered to that purpose. And one thing led to another. That purpose introduced me to different people. And
mhm,
when I come across a certain person or a certain circumstance or situation, that inner spirit tends to jump up with an internal yes. And that's a feeling I get. It kind of feels like, when somebody takes their fingers and they rub them like across the hair on your arm, and it's that tickling, tingling. That
mhm,
feeling I get underneath my skin. It's so crazy when my spirit says, this is it, this is direction, or pay attention to this person or this circumstance. That kept happening over and over since 2017, from
mhm,
one person to the next person to the next circumstance. And it was all, the common denominator was healing for other
mhm.
people, but energy healing from an all natural standpoint, healing with just energy frequency and vibration, no pills, no medications, and no harmful side effects. And little did I know, I was being introduced to teachers who who mastered the ancient healing arts of the indigenous people, or the Indian spirit shaman, or the Reiki teachers and the Reiki masters, um, the healing modalities from the Far East that just deal with energy, frequency, and vibration. I didn't know that these were the people I was getting introduced to,
Mm.
and I became students of every single one of them. And now I am um, a healer. And it brought me to this point to where my purpose in life, which I embraced, is to reciprocate unconditional love and abundance through healing, helping people heal from their emotional trauma. And that's who I am. That's what I do.
That's amazing. So for me, I know what it is. I think people don't really realize, Jay, that everything is energy.
Yeah.
And we all live on different frequencies.
Yeah. Uh huh.
And I think a lot of people don't understand that, a lot of times, especially like, let's say, relationships, I may be a low vibrating person, but
Hmm.
I want this high vibrating person.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen because we're on two different frequencies.
Exactly.
And so, can you and I guess in layman terms, try to help people understand the importance of energy and the importance of the vibrational frequencies.
Okay. You brought up relationships, so I'm gonna try to give you something from that standpoint. Um, let's say that Tom and Mary were dating, and then they broke up because
Mhm.
Tom is narcissist. He's a narcissist. He's horrible in relationships. He treats women awful. So they've been together for like 10 years. She finally got up the gumption to get out of the relationship. And but even though they are out of the relationship and they're separate, they have no communication, no ties whatsoever. They are still energetically connected. And here's why. They are energetically connected because Mary hasn't had time to heal from all of the emotional trauma that he put her through. So that means that Mary is still vibrating at the frequency of Tom. So when let's say Tom moved on, moved to another state, the whole nine. Mary wants to start dating, and she hadn't taken the time to heal herself. So she starts dating. The only men she's going to run into, or people, whoever her partner, the preference is, the only person she's going to run into are people that are vibrating at the same frequency of Tom because she's vibrating at that frequency. We attract what we are. So she's going to attract that same frequency. Now, if she goes through her healing process and heals herself, and gets back to her own personal frequency and get rid of Tom's frequency, then she's going to attract someone that matches her instead of someone that matches Tom. So energy is very important in that aspect, and we need to know who we are and be able to spend times with ourselves to maintain our personal energy.
Absolutely. And I think too, people don't understand too, as you take the time to figure out who you are, and as you elevate as a person and you vibrate on a higher level,
Yeah,
sometimes that means you have to let certain people go.
yeah,
And I,
yeah,
and I think when some of the guys I coach, that's been the hardest part for them in their growth process is letting go of the people who are no longer serving you because you're on two different frequencies.
yeah.
Because they feel like if I let them go, I'm gonna be alone, I'm gonna be lonely. And I said that's the time that he wants you to be by yourself
Right.
because he wants to continue for you to do the self work on yourself. And as you continue to do the self work on yourself, and you'll elevate higher, and then your next tribe of people will come to you. Am I kind of
Exactly.
accurate with that?
Oh yeah, definitely accurate because like I said, from 2017 till today, that was years of healing I had to do to become a healer myself.
Hmm.
And so I had to let go of all the bad habits and the things within me that didn't serve my purpose. And once I did that, I embraced my purpose, which was a higher frequency. And now, because I am of a higher frequency, I'm able to help others heal and get to their higher frequency.
Right. So why is it important to go to an energy healer? And the reason why I ask that is because I serve a lot of our young men, and they all have traumas, whether it's abandonment issues
Hmm.
from your dad, molestation issues, um, and I feel like um, they have a hard time in relationships
Yeah.
because they have not done the internal work.
Mhm.
And if I was to say, I think you need to go see Jay, what would be my reasoning? Outside, I know you're a great person and great what you
Mhm.
do. Why would I make them understand? Because especially a lot of guys don't know what it is. How would I say it to them to make them understand why it's important in their healing process?
I would say that most likely someone, the people that are recommended to me are people who are struggling and they keep running into, um, I'm just going to say psychological blocks, things
Mhm.
that they have that they know they can do, but they're hitting these brick walls. And they like, okay, I know I want to do this in my life, but I cannot do this but it's something that's stopping me. I want to move forward, but I can't. I'm kind of stuck, or I'm carrying this guilty feeling, and I don't know why. But that every time I try to move forward and be successful, this feeling of guilt keeps coming over me. I don't know what that feeling of guilt is. It's getting on my nerves, and starting to really, it's starting to really aggravate me. So the more that person starts, and that they're really determined to be successful, they're going to keep pushing towards success. But that feeling of guilt, or whatever that feeling is, that psychological block is going to keep surfacing. When they
Mhm.
don't know what that is, then that's when you would recommend someone would be recommended to me, an energy healer, because I can help go back and find what help identify that that feeling of guilt, where that is coming from, or where a psychological block is coming from that's blocking you from being successful in whatever it is you want to do. It can be relationships, it can be whatever it is, but I can help you find the root cause and pull that out so it can be dealt with. Because every time you're trying to be successful, it keeps presenting itself like, hey, I'm here, deal with me first. The more you try to be successful, the more that guilt or pain comes up. Deal with me first. But when you don't know what that is, and it's not something physical, you can't get an x-ray and see what that is.
Mhm.
But an energy healer can tell you, can do a scan, or go through a healing process with you and help you identify what that is, deal with it, and then you can move forward with your success project or task that you have.
Okay. Because I went to one before and it was um it was something amazing because it pulled out something in me that I did not know that I still had an issue with.
Ah, okay,
And
okay.
I never, they was putting all this had all this energy coming out, and I realized that I still had like hurt feelings
Hmm.
regarding a past relationship
Yeah.
that helped that was preventing me from moving forward.
Okay.
And I had to allow myself to forgive that person, but
Uh-huh.
also had to learn. I had to also allow myself to forgive myself at the same
Okay.
time. And um, I didn't know that it's gonna make it, and it made me kind of emotional.
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Oh
because
yeah.
I didn't, 'cause I didn't see it. Cause I kind of like beat myself up. I'm like, I thought I had got past this,
Yeah.
and evidently I didn't. So for me, that's why I was like really interested when I was proud of you when you became one, because I know how great they are and
Yeah.
how we're needed in our community. So one of the questions I do want to ask you too is, we are men of a certain age range, and we are still to continue to grow and educate ourselves to be our best self in our purpose.
Hmm.
Um, Speak to our millennials and our Gen Zers who feel if they're not living a certain way or in their purpose at 25 or 27, that they are failures. I get that a lot from my clients. They feel like they have failed because they're 33 and they don't have a clue of where they want to be, what they want to do. Can you speak to them for me?
Yeah. Yeah. I can definitely do that, man. And the way to approach that, when you feel like you are a failure or you feel like you're not being successful, that is just your way of realizing that, hey, there's more work to do. Things are ongoing. There is no, honestly, there is no physical destination or success destination that you are going to arrive at, because life is ongoing. Every day presents you with a different circumstance. So, being that life is ongoing, we are growing every day. And we have to embrace every single day and every single moment, because every single moment and every single day is different. So when you get to that point, that area of growth, and you're like, okay, I feel stuck. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like a failure. No, you're not a failure. What you did was learn what does not work for you at that moment in time. That was a learning experience. Take
Mhm.
that learning experience, hold on to it, because you can use that. Now you are growing in wisdom. You are becoming wiser. That is a wisdom nugget, for lack of better terms. You are
Right.
collecting wisdom nuggets as you grow and as you grow and as you grow. And then it's kind of like having the old grandfather, that granddad, or the old sage that tells you everything about life. How come they know everything about life? Because they themselves have collected so many wisdom nuggets that they have more wisdom nuggets than you. So they're able to share their experiences. They're able to share those wisdom nuggets. And the key thing to remember, there is no physical destination. You Everybody you look up and say, and you hear and see them say, "Hey, I've made it. I'm at the top. I've made it." They haven't made it anywhere. They just made it to another step on their journey. The journey is the destination. I mean, the destination you want to get to is the journey. Once you're on that journey, then you are growing.
Mhm.
But once you are not on that journey, when you are not on that journey, you're not growing. You're stagnant. You're standing still. You're not trying. So the
Right.
destination is the journey. That's where you want to be. And then you want on that journey, you collect all the wisdom nuggets you can collect and you can share as you go.
I love that. Um, I saw on your website that you have another book out. So what's the name of your book?
That book is called From Failure, which ties right in. Good segue. From
Yes, sir.
Failure, the From Failure, the complete manifestation manual. It's about manifesting, and
Mhm.
it tells my story, the beginning of my struggles as a adolescent and then as a teenager. I suffered from 7 mental health disorders and intellectual disabilities.
Mhm.
And not a lot of people knew about that. If you look at me now, you wouldn't be able to tell that I suffered from um, anxiety, depression, trichotillomania, which is a hair pulling disease, and you pull your
Mhm.
hair out, your eyelash, your beard, and things like that. I had Tourette's syndrome. I had a nervous tic disorder. Um, and trying to remember what they are, but they're in the book. And the book is called From Failure. And failure is an acronym. FAILURE stands for falling and intrinsically learning under real expectations. So the book is my journey, and it tells about the mental disabilities and the intellectual disorders that I've grown from. It tells how I did it, and it also, in the last part of that book, is everything is broken down into 10 steps of how you can manifest and do the same thing and overcome whatever it is that you are trying to overcome. So it is a how-to manual for overcoming anything you want to overcome.
I like that. And so you know, because manifesting is like the hot word right now that everybody's trying to do. But I don't know if everybody understand what manifesting is. So can you explain what truly manifesting is?
Yeah, definitely so. We kind of touched on it earlier when I talked about the relationship between Tom and Mary and attracting. Attracting is manifesting. And manifesting is not something you have to try to do because we are manifesting all the time and we attract what we are. So, in other words, we manifest what we are. We manifest and attract our vibration. Like Mary was attracting the same vibration that she was, even when she was vibrating at the frequency of Tom, and then she changed and she can vibrate at the frequency of Mary. So she's attracting what she is. Now, how that works is we attract our most dominant thought. So, what's on our mind most of the time, or the majority of the time? We think and we feel that. We think about it and we feel our thoughts to where our thoughts become, we get emotional about our thoughts. And
Mhm.
and our thoughts and feelings, they become actions because we start to act on those in the forms of speaking or in the forms of doing with our hands. And when we do those things, we start to manifest those. That is the act of manifesting. Also, there are times when we can think on these things and speak on these, or think and feel these things so much to where They appear. When I say they appear, they happen. How many times have you thought about somebody enough, and all of it, and you kind of felt somebody and you thought about them. Next thing you know, they're calling you, or you get a text message from them. You manifested that communication with them. That's how that works. So we're manifesting all the time. Now, the buzzword for manifesting is a big buzzword. It's actually intentional manifesting, because we can manifest bad stuff too.
Right.
Always sit there and think about how much money we don't have. I don't have
Mhm.
enough money. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough money. Well, or I don't have abundance. I don't have abundance. You do have abundance. You have a an abundance of lack. That's what you have.
There you go.
So, but if you are trying to manifest abundance, then you are already abundant. So we are manifesting. When we manifest, we have to keep in mind where our mind is, because we can manifest bad stuff as well. If we are constantly talking about, I don't have, that's what you're going to keep manifesting.
Yeah,
More opportunities to not have. That's how that works.
absolutely. And I remember I told this guy, he was a little bit older, and I had told him, you know, what you think is what you're going to attract.
Yeah.
And so he was a waiter, and he would come in, and he would see the restaurant. It might have been kind of a slow day at the time, and
Hmm.
he'll say, "I'm not gonna make no money today."
Mm,
So I said, "You say that, it's going to be so, because that's what you just manifested into your life."
yeah.
I said, "You have to." I said, "Words has power. So what you speak is what you're going to attract to the world, to you." So I said, everything is energy, including money. So how you see it is how it's going to come to you. And
Yeah.
so he tried the next day. So the next day was similar, but he changed how he saw the day was going to be for himself.
Yeah.
And he ended up making like $300 in
Okay.
tips.
Okay.
And and he came to me, he called me, he was like, "Man, thank you, because I changed my thoughts, and I made good money today." I said, "You gotta change that every day,
Yeah.
because because the energy you put out is what you're gonna attract. That's your true manifestation." So I'm
Yeah.
glad you explained that to everybody, because I don't think everybody really understands that the words they speak is powerful, and that helps
Yeah. Yeah.
determine how it's gonna be.
Can I explain the science behind that?
You sure can.
Okay. Now, we have our body is made up of cells, energy cells. That's all we are. Our cells make up our tissues make up the organs make up our bodily systems, which make up our body. Now, every time we go to sleep, we have cells that die off and reproduce, and we have new cells. Every morning we wake up, we have 33 billion new cells in our body that are waiting and listening to our thoughts for their commands. The cells need to be programmed, just like having a new computer, you need to program it. So we got 33 billion cells in our body that need to be programmed. When we wake up first thing in the morning and say, "Oh, I hope my back doesn't hurt today." Well, the subconscious mind doesn't speak in negative, doesn't recognize negative terms like no and not. So if you wake up and say, "I hope my back is not hurting today," your subconscious mind is going to interpret that as, "I hope my back is hurting today." That's going to be the programming that goes down to all those 33 billion cells. They're going to be like, "Oh, that's what we own today? We're going to be hurting, back hurting? Let's go, spread it out. We got our command. Back when we're hurting today." And it happens. So we need to program. We speak life into ourselves. That's biblical.
Mhm.
Life and death is in the power of the tongue, and it starts here with our thoughts. That's biblical. Um, be ye changed by the renewing of your mind. We have certain authors and philosophers that have said similar things. As a man thinketh, so is he. So we can keep going on and on and on, man, with that. But that is the science behind that.
Okay. I like that. Um, my next question is from man to man. What do you think our men needs at this present moment? Because we want to we want our community to grow.
Hmm.
And in order for our community to grow, we need our Black men to grow and elevate.
Yeah.
So what do you know? What do you think we need? Because I know, as a coach, I know as a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, you
Hmm.
all guys are very big on mentorship. So from your experience, what do you think our young men need from us and in life period to help them elevate and be able to take on the leadership role they're supposed to be in life?
Hmm. Well, we are successful as men when we are authentically our genuine self, who we are, because we are operating in our purpose and not trying to be what somebody else wants us to be. But in order for us to understand how to operate as ourselves, we have to know ourselves and understand ourselves. So first and foremost, we have to, I would say, to spend time in meditation, at least 5 minutes a day, just thinking about who you are inside. And what that means is learning who you are, the spirit that you are, who you are. I had to do that to become the energy healer, which is the purpose, my purpose. What that looks like. I know people say manifest it in 5 minutes a day or whatever, but what that looks
Mhm,
like is we have five gateways to our mind. Those are our five senses. And our
mhm,
five senses are picking up everything externally, what we hear, see, touch, taste, and smell, all come in and gets processed in our mind. And our mind starts to process that. But that's external. Everything external is a distraction. So, in order to meditate, you turn those five senses inward. Don't listen to what's outside, listen to what's inside. And what is inside? Our spirit, who we are. None of us really know how to do that unless somebody has taken time to show us how that works or how to do that. That way we can hear, see, feel, and smell and taste the spirit that we are. What does that feel like? Like I mentioned before, when I was struggling and went through and I understand my spirit when it says that internal yes. I told you it feels like a tingling under my skin. That's internal. Nobody outside of me was touching. That was internal. Um, you can see internally, not look with your physical eyes. Your physical eyes are made for the external, looking at what's outside. But if you
right.
close your eyes, you can see. You are seeing. You see in your dreams. You see in your imagination, and you see visions. You do that with your eyes closed.
Right.
So that's why people close their eyes when they meditate. And the best way to do that, focus on something internal. You're breathing in and you're breathing out, but all that takes place inside. So when you focus on your breathing or listening to your heartbeat, all that's internal. You are literally tuning out all distractions. Where your focus goes, your energy flows. That's where we can only focus on one thing at a time. So focus on what's inside. And when you do that, and the more that you do that, you start to hear your inner self, the spirit that we are, because we are all spirits inside these human bodies.
Mhm.
It's kind of like when somebody dies, they say they give up the ghost, they gave up the spirit. So we're all spirits in our human bodies, but we never take time to listen to our spirit. Circling back to answer your question, the young Black men, we need to understand who we are because we were born to be leaders. Look at our heritage, our lineage. We're kings, inventors. We are strong men, strong fathers. So to get back to that spirit that's inside of us, it's in our ancestral DNA. We have to listen to that. So go inside for at least 5 minutes. Once we learn who we are, we can go out and be who we are. And once we do that, we're unstoppable, man.
Yeah.
Unstoppable.
Okay. We gonna go there because of me, and a friend of mine, we went to college together and we met up over the weekend to talk some opportunities for me to do some coaching in the
Hmm.
school district. And that was the topic of conversation. Um, and I feel like people have to understand that the oppressed comes into a mindset,
Yeah.
and they want to oppress the mindset to make you think that you are not capable or you're not able to be the greatness that you are.
Yeah.
That's done intentionally. It's done based out of fear
Hmm.
because they don't want you all to understand the greatness that's inside you. They don't want you to tap into that because then the fear of you knowing your worth, knowing how great that you are,
Yeah.
that then you can take over.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly, man.
And and I think if people understand like what they say and the intentions of how they show black men on mainstream TV, it's intentional. They want you just to think that we're only a certain type of man. They're
Hmm.
not going to show a you. They're not going to show a me. And they're not going to show how great of a father you are
Yeah.
or whatever like that because they don't want that to be seen.
Hmm.
You know, that's like I told people, the biggest thing President Obama did was become president
Yeah.
because what he did was he showed what we as a black person can be outside of entertaining others.
It was empowering, man.
It was
Empowering.
empowering. It also showed the power of a black family,
Yeah. Yeah. The family unit. Beautiful.
the
Beautiful.
family unit. If we understand that the family unit is could be and when they're locked together,
Hmm.
it's unstoppable.
Definitely unstoppable, man. It's just the power of the mind. And mainstream media, they know that. That's why they put the commercials the way they do. They try to, even in Hollywood, portray black men in the way that they do, trying to put us in dresses or trying to let us be gangsters or dope dealers, showing us in jail getting arrested and stuff like that. Or the black person is always the first one to die in the movie, stuff like that. And we didn't get a chance to see a lot of that. One of the greatest things that President Obama did, and this wasn't even passing a law or nothing like that. There was a group of school kids coming to the White House to tour, and there was a black kid reaching up for President Obama, and he was touching President Obama's hair, saying, "Hey, you got hair like me. I
Mhm,
identify with you.
mhm,
So if you are in this role, I can be in this role." Like you said,
mhm,
we see from what we see and identify with, you know, that's a seed planted and that seed can grow.
mhm.
Even back to the point of meditation, once we see who we are on the inside and we have a vision, we grow. Just like
Yeah,
driving, man.
right.
We go in the direction that we see. If we can't
Mhm.
see when we're driving, we're gonna pull over until the fog clears up.
Absolutely. And it goes to the mindset of like the 100 black men. Their mindset is what you see is what you be.
Yeah,
So if you can see it,
yeah,
you could become it. And
exactly.
so all we need, so for me, the intention is to show black men or people generally doing amazing things and doing it in different areas. Because if you don't see people like you, they don't know that it's an opportunity for them to tap into their greatness
Right,
like you did.
right.
They don't know that's a thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so I had to in my quiet time, like you know, after the book, I had to really do a shift and reset because I was in the purpose, but I had to be more unapologetic
Uh-huh.
of what I was doing it and why was I doing it for,
Yeah,
uh, and understanding the assignment. And a lot of times they will put fear in you because you know they know you're close
yeah,
to
yeah.
it, and like they put fear in you. They be like, okay, maybe he'll pull away. So the fear was like a lot of times they'll say, we don't want you to tap into the black men
Yeah.
because they won't pay you, you won't make no money, this and that. So I had to step back and be like, okay, that's people putting placing fear and their lack on me because they don't want me to inspire, educate, and use other people to do the same thing, we
Hmm.
can grow as a community. Is the fear of us taking over.
Yeah, you
And,
mentioned
and
something. Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah,
Well,
and I had to. So what he did, what in my quiet time,
hmm,
what he did was he showed me how to create passive income, so that I don't have to worry about money
yeah,
and just be and do. Because once I be and do, that's gonna come anyway.
yeah.
And that's what I had to realize as well. But go ahead.
You mentioned something when you said you had to realize, why am I doing this? And you had to question that. That's something else that our young millennials need to do. And they are the ones that kind of started this thing with
Hmm.
the whole fact check thing, fact checking
Hmm.
everything, question everything, everything. Because we have to unlearn a lot of what we learned. Question
Hmm.
everything, ask why, why, why this, why that. And when it gets to the point to where someone says, because I said so, that's when you cut it off. That's when you cut it off. It's not because what you said, they said so. There is a logical explanation for everything. And if it doesn't make sense and doesn't feel right, don't do
Hmm.
it. Because the feeling is where is your spirit talking to you. Like you say, I'm not feeling that. And you don't
Right.
do it because you're not feeling that, because you're not, your spirit, the spirit that you are is speaking out and saying, no, I'm not feeling that.
Hmm.
And so trust that feeling, and ask it, question everything.
Absolutely. And I think one of the things we gotta give ourselves permission to do is just be great.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Oh yeah.
because we have to stop asking for permission to be great and just be great. Be unapologetically in doing so.
Yeah.
You know, because the spirit's already guiding you into your greatness.
Hmm.
It's up to you just to be obedient to it and just follow behind and put the work behind it.
That's
You know,
right.
and once you do it, the greatness is going to show. But you don't have to wait for no one to give you permission to go do so because you since you alive and breathing, that's your permission.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely so, man. That's opportunity. That's the moment. Everything exists in this moment. There is no, literally, there is no future, there is no past. You have to be the greatest you can be right now. When you take a breath, you don't breathe into the future. You don't breathe into the past. You breathe into this moment. This is all that matters. And if you look at it as a future, when you get there, it's still going to be a right now moment.
Mhm.
So we need to be our greatest self in the right now moment. You know, how are we capitalizing on that? And I like what you are doing, in your right now moments, like the podcast thing, putting out the positivity, being great in that aspect, man. That's a beautiful thing.
Thank you. And it's like I had to show black men, and each person I've interviewed so far, for the most part, are polar opposites. You know, you're the energy healer. I've
Yeah.
had the superintendent of schools. I've had a radio personality, but then I also had uh, a spiritual coach,
Okay.
and so all these different type of mindsets, but they all say the same thing. They all tap into the self of, you know, it's it's in our mind and in our spirit to be this.
Yeah.
It's up to us to do the work and be disciplined and do it. And so it's intentional to show you guys who y'all are and what y'all doing and the journey, because then that way it will teach the youth and the young adults behind us that they can't give up because you on your way. And the roadblocks is only going to make you stronger and and
Yeah.
smarter.
Yeah. Definitely so. I mean, God wouldn't, I'm a man of faith, and God wouldn't bring us to something if we weren't able to grow through it. So everything we're presented with is a lesson in itself, and we have to look at it as such. It's kind of like the old school Mario games.
Mhm.
You keep going, you're going to come across these opportunities, obstacles. But when you hit that obstacle, you get rewarded with a coin. They hit these brick walls and these turtle shells or whatever. Those are obstacles. Once they got
Mhm.
over the obstacle, there was a growth point. Mario grew bigger. So, and it
Right.
was rewarded. So that's just a similarity of life. That's how life works. Keep going. Get on the journey because the journey is the destination.
That's right. I want you to give a parting word. I want you to give you a parting word. Stand up for a hot second for me, brother.
Ah,
First, I want to thank you for supporting my I Am Love
yeah.
um, uh, t-shirt and hoodie. I truly appreciate it. You are the epitome of that to me. The reason why I created that t-shirt and hoodie is because that's my affirmation
Yeah.
every morning. Two, we all are created in the image of likeness of God, and God is love. So then, therefore, I am love, you and love are love, we all are love. So we set the intentions every morning to walk, talk, and act in love. Then there's nothing more but greatness and blessings coming to us.
Yeah.
So that's the reason why I created that. I'm grateful for you for supporting. For those who are watching and seeing this, if you want to support the shirt, I'll put the link in the description box below. But can you give us a parting word? 'Cause you have given us a lot of good information today. So I want to let you get the final shot.
I'm going to say the same thing I say after every coaching video that I put on social media. Be well, stay blessed, and through love, be a blessing. I love you.
And we love you too, brother. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much, sir.
All
Are
right.
you still in Ohio?
I am still in Ohio.
So I'm gonna have to try. One day when I'm coming home to Cleveland, I'm gonna have to make a stop and see you, so we could see
Yeah.
each other in person.
Reach out, man. We can make it happen.
All right then. Thank you so much again. And this has been another episode of Conversation with Coach Kevin. I'm your host, Kevin Thornton. Until next time, peace.